Alright, timestamp December 28th, 2025. It is 5:20. I've been up about an hour. I got up at like 4:20. I got whiny puppies over here. So we're yes, be free, run. Make the dogs next door go nuts. I'll be back in a minute. The one, the only, the Hexadoodle. Oof. Still got that wonderful dead smell out here. Problem is I can't see it. I mean, I'm not like about to walk into it, it's way behind me, but it's whatever it is. Again, probably small. Rat, rabbit, possum, alpaca, I don't know. But it's in the debris, which, that's not really narrowing it down. Where isn't there debris, right? But that complicates the ability to, stepping down, okay. One of these days I'm gonna like replace those stones or something, make it a little bit easier to traverse. But yeah, it being somewhere in the debris field. It's all debris field. Everybody's taking care of business, which is good. Scrappy, finish up, bud. It is. I cheated. I looked at the Weather Channel. It is 56 degrees currently. A little misty. You should be cautious and watch for angry dead lepers. Saw it on TV. Also strange spider creatures. The end of that really pissed me off. That is not how I would have handled it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You got that far and that's your answer? No. No. Dumb. Knee jerk. Nice, actually. Definitely still a little congested. Yeah, I mean, past couple days I've been getting. Ooh, that was almost bad. Been getting some stuff done, but. Oof. track some dirt in. Past couple days I've been getting stuff done, but not nearly as much as I normally would. Alright. Cookie time. I need 6 arms. Grab and go. Go. Boy, go, man. At least get my second arm back here, right? Having Janus between my legs. Scrappy, go. You got yours. Cats to give cookies to. Jinx. Hey, hey, ow! You missed your cookie, pal. Jinx grabbed it. You were too busy trying to attack me. Dumbass. He likes me a lot. Hit me in the wrist. No, you got yours, Scrappy. Scrap, go. Scrappy, go! You're not slick, you're not cute. Well, you are cute. You're not slick. Janus. Got that one. Alright, I know it's one per customer, but I didn't want him to miss out because he's still getting in the flow of this. I think it's interesting that he comes out now too for Cookie when the dogs come back in. It's kind of fun. Oh. Hex, yeah, please play through. Alright guys, I want to make coffee. Yeah. My leg is being molested. Let me let Tanner in. Daddy's work is never done, right? Nothing. There. I'm just trying to pick that up, thanks. Quit mauling me, jeez. Everybody's got the cookie, go. What do you, yeah, you got yours. Oh my god. Scrappy tries so hard. That kid that keeps getting back in line even though he already had his, you know. Move, thank you. Just splashed back into my arm, or my arm and my belly. That was hot. It was like water that just came from the coffee maker hot. Bracing. Scrappy, can I please get in here? Thank you. Love my pup, but he's right up on me most of the time. Take a step, boom, he's there. It's like, dude. A really attached puppy. What are we doing? Yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of it yesterday, so. I need to do a Cameron sea salt caramel and a Herring David breakfast blend in between. But, yeah. Yeah, a little better. Oh, you can actually see me. Doing okay for 54, though. Not quite heroic anymore, but, you know, not bad. It's going to sound awful. Well, maybe. But I've seen some other people in my age bracket, you know, over the past year. Alumni, people out and about, you know. And most of the time I see them and I look at them and go, you're, I can't figure out if I look good or they look bad. This is my first time in my mid-50s, you know? And I know people that are into past lives and whatnot be like, it probably isn't. But I don't know what I believe there. To my knowledge, this is my first time in my mid-50s. So I've discovered something as the coffee brews. Throw that one on the ground. It's Dole, The Fantastic Mr. Fox, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, one of my favorite books. Hardy Boys, the Tower Treasure, right? Yeah. Yeah, Tower Treasure. I'm sure I read that. I'm sure I read that as a kid. Because I read 30 or 40 Hardy Boys when I was like in between 10 and 12. I think I mentioned that. And then I discovered 3 investigators. I think I mentioned that the other day. Those are Zuru Series 2 books. I looked this up yesterday, which, if you're not into this sort of thing, you're not into this sort of thing, and that's fine. They're not on the checklist. They're part of some kind of wave 2 that happened that I'm not finding any official listings for, and yet, like on the website and whatnot, it mentions that something wave 2 happened. It's like secrets within secrets. And I've been scrolling through eBay and I'm not finding, because I got those in like a couple different lots, and then I found someone that had done, it wasn't on Reddit, but it was somewhere out there, they had done like a checklist of Zuru Series 2. And they definitely, okay, so I've done, thought I heard my kid. I have done toy buying and selling. As I've explained, my wife and I ran a hobby shop for like 9 years. And we did eBay before then, during and after. I grew up pretty much a sci-fi collector. My wife grew up going to doll shows and flea markets with her grandma, Barbie and all that kind of stuff. And my wife's not necessarily into Barbie. Again, discovered Monster High a few years ago and went, holy crap, why didn't they have this when I was a kid? Because it's my girl, babe, you know, I mean, a Barbie-ish doll series with like a horror / sci-fi slant to it. Come on, you know what I mean? And her favorite is Ghoulia Yelps, the zombie, the smart zombie character. Of the main 4 ghoul friends, she apparently likes Draculaura the best, which, okay, cool. I'm amused by Claudine, because, you know, lupine power and all that. I'm a wolf king, what do you want? But from what I've seen of the characters, because I've researched a little bit here and there because I'm trying to help my wife get stuff, look-wise, as far as like aesthetics and all that, this isn't me crushing on a, you know, horror doll, this is me just saying aesthetic-wise, like color, basic overall look and whatnot. I like Spectra, Wondergeist. Just got a really cool look. Twyla's cool too. Twyla Boogeyman. But getting back to it, I know about knockoff toys. Seen them, sold them before, gotten them before. I know what they are. I know typically what to look for. These books are not knockoffs, they're the real deal. And I'm trying to figure out how they released them. Because they're calling it Wave 2. And I wrote down what I found on the checklist because I haven't been able to find any real official printable from Zuru. So I wrote it down on my checklist because that made the most sense to me. But apparently there are 7 books that have happened, and I don't know, other than scouring eBay and getting lucky, because I'm sure I'm not the only monkey in town that's aware of this. I'm not sure how to acquire, because I mean, this is one of those instances where we are actually trying to, in the spirit of Pokemon, catch them all. Pardon. But this isn't like an action figure mint-in box or a giant playset or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a mini book. It's... I could fit 4 of them in my thumb. You know, it's not a space-consuming collectible that we must hold on to for years and years. So I don't have as much, like, hoarding guilt on this one. I can't figure out where the hell to get these. I don't even know how they released them. I don't know. I saw something about an advent calendar, and I'm wondering if they were, like, prizes that were exclusive to the advent calendar? If that's how the Wave 2 thing happened, or if they started sneaking them into... It's going to sound dirty. If they started sneaking them into balls, because they come in a, like, ball capsule that you crack open and it has the different stuff inside. If they just started sneaking these in at the end of Wave 2 or Series 2 and didn't tell anyone and didn't update the checklists. Actually, that reminds me, because I did get some checklists with some of the stuff that I got in the other day. Just to see if they updated the checklist and, like, did this all real on the down low. No. I just thought of that. You did. See, this is why I sit down and talk to you. They updated the checklist. Okay. You slick bastards. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Son of a bitch. Okay, now I need to look through all the other checklists that I just got in, because I had 2 on my desk somehow. Hmm? They are legit. Okay, so they added Three Musketeers as a good luck getting it book. They added a Nancy Drew, Secret of the Old Clock. That is now an ultra rare. The Tower Treasure, which I just got a copy of, is a rare. And commons, Without Merit, The War of the Worlds, and The Fantastic Mr. Fox. So, okay. And I think I got the Without Merit too. Colleen Hoover, I'm not familiar with her, but she's got like 6 books in here. So apparently she's become a thing while I've been in hermit mode. And so I just got all 3 of the commons, and I got the Tower Treasure, which is the rare. But Secret of the Old Clock and the new Three Musketeers. So Nancy Drew and Three Musketeers are the ones that you have to sacrifice offspring to get. See if they add anything on the back. They did not. Any new gadgets? No. Still just the bookcase, candle, teacup, magnifying glass cat, and death lamp. Alright. Well, that's new and exciting. Be funny if I could get one of these. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm doing all the legwork, so I'm keeping the first copy of these. But if I can get second copies, just to sneak it into stuff that Pix is looking at, I know her. Here's the thing. We talked about the whole, like, Harry Potter house thing. She likes to claim that she's Slytherin, but she's a Ravenclaw. She just thinks Slytherin makes her sound edgy. And I love her, but it's just damn true. So the researcher bug in her is, her head will explode if she sees a book that, maybe I'll sneak her the Without Merit just to see what happens. Because I don't really give a rat's about the Colleen Hoover. I don't think she does either exactly, but it might be worth it just for the reaction of it. Just for like looking at it going, okay, yeah. What? You're not on the list. But she's not getting my Tower Treasure, because just nope. War of the Worlds, and even Fantastic Mr. Fox, man. No, I don't think so. Reminded of my favorite Hank Azaria line from the Night of the Museum series. I know that's like not what you necessarily think of. Mind you, I love Mystery Men, so I love Men That as well. Update those because I have a working modern checklist, because mine is now obsolete apparently. But he's interviewing people at the Smithsonian, it's the night of the Smithsonian, interviewing potential generals and whatnot. And he's at Darth Vader. You know. And what's with the cape? What are we, going to the opera? I didn't think so. Makes me freaking laugh every time. Even playing it in my head, it's just like, I didn't think so. They added some and then snuck it out. Huh, I say. That's very interesting. No fanfare, just new checklists. Let's see if anybody notices. Makes you wonder if they were planning on doing a Series 3 and they're like kind of hesitating and they just released some of the ones they had prepped for Series 3 maybe? I don't know. As far as I know, they didn't do this with Series 1. We jumped onto this towards the end of Series 1. It's not really a lot of time to have a track record. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Jumping on in the middle of the second one, it's hard to really say, this is the way they always do it. If it were Series 6 or something, then we'd have more precedent. Son of a bitch. Okay. They're going to be harder to get, though, if it was towards the last end of the production run. I've been a collector and or dealing with collections for a long time, so even a common, unless they just started putting them out, and they're going to be putting out a lot more Series 2, which is possible, because we don't actually know how long they're going to be on Series 2. So right now, a common is not common because, you know, they're just now entering circulation. But in a month or two, they might be. You know, as more balls get out there in the wild. I knew they weren't knockoffs, though. They look too damn good. And why would you do knockoffs of ones that hadn't been made yet? Unless you were doing some kind of DC Comics Joker thing so that you could, like, confuse the collecting world. And I have seen people fabricate, like, action figures, do customs, whatnot, and then claim that it's like a prototype figure that never actually got released. I've seen people play that hustle before. You know, this is the original Uncle Owen figure that they were going to release with A New Hope, but because he wasn't a major character, they decided not to release it. I've seen stuff like that. And I've seen that hustle work, and I've seen that hustle crash and burn. And there are prototype figures out there, or unreleased figures that still got made, like behind the factory closed doors. But they're real rare, and most of the time your collectors know about them. You know, they know they exist at least. You know, like I own a blue Snaggletooth. They happened. For those of you who don't know, when Star Wars figures first started coming out, Sears, the department store line, had like an exclusivity thing to where there were certain things like 76, 77, 78, maybe even later, but during that time period especially, Sears got some exclusive items, much like Toys R Us, you know, GameStop, same kind of deal, but, you know, back when we were writing on stone tablets. So sometimes there were items that were made only for Sears to distribute. And one of those items was a Cantina set. Tatooine Cantina. Dun, 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 you know. And it was a much cheaper version than the one that got released mainstream. So the one that got released mainstream had a plastic base with a cardboard thing that you could insert into the background. It had a slot that you could put the backdrop into the Cantina in the background. The Sears release was a cardboard, almost like a board game, that unfolded and then had little things on the sides that you could use to brace the backdrop. But it became a floor and the back wall. Board game, picture that in your head. And it had, like, just artwork on it. It wasn't, like, real flashy. But it came with 4 figures. No big deal, right? It came with Greedo, Walrus Man, Hammerhead, and a Snaggletooth. Here's the big difference. The Snaggletooth, the one that got released mainstream on the individual blister packs, is a little guy in a red jumpsuit. He's short. It's a red Snaggletooth. The one that got released in the cardboard Sears Cantina, also made by Kenner, but distributed through Sears. And there were a couple other sets that were Sears exclusives, but I think this is the only time that this oopsie daisy happened. In the Cantina from Sears was a Snaggletooth, same, you know, head design, whatnot, same race, if you want to call it that. But he was like normal 3 3/4 size, and he was in a blue jumpsuit. And apparently there was pre-production art stuff behind the scenes, and because they're designing toys based on like stills from filming and such, they didn't know how tall the Snaggletooths were going to be. So they made him, and they were using black and white stills. They made him the same height as the other characters, because I think the character's like sitting down in the Cantina scene, so they didn't really know height. And I think the Snaggletooths are actually short. So they made him normal size because, you know, he's sitting down. He looks like he's the same height as everybody else. And with the black and white, they were like, do blue. But it was actually red. I think that's kind of the story on that one. So they released what, in the collecting Star Wars world, is known typically as the Blue Snaggletooth. It was a Snaggletooth 3 3/4 inch in a blue jumpsuit, as opposed to the 2.5 inch tall, I think, red Snaggletooth. And I grew up in a middle class household that was my parents both were very achievers, silent generation. If you're not working 60 hours a week, you are not worthy. Very hardworking people. My dad, 60, 80 hours a week jobs. Coming home, working on Volkswagens, restoring those. Eating Frosted Flakes, sleeping, showering, getting back, doing it all over again. Which explains why even now, when he was here, he couldn't let go of projects. He didn't know how to actually turn it off. Retiring just meant that he started working 60 hours a week on his own projects. And then his brain starts breaking, and that 60 hours a week on projects became 60 hours of worrying about the burglar and reinforcing and losing things and then blaming that on the burglar. We talked about this vicious circle. But my point is, my parents weren't living above their means, but they were living right up to their means and pushing hard. So I grew up in a middle class family. Maybe you might even consider it upper middle. And they kind of had their toe in the upper class world. I went to an expensive private school. And being the middle class kid, all of my classmates, except for a few, and we found each other like the outsiders. True story. 2-Bit, Soda Pop. These are all my friends. So because we were kind of the middle school kids, or the middle class kids in an upper class world, we kind of became, it's a sort of a classism thing. We were the poor kids. And I know that may sound crazy, but from a class system standpoint, we were the poor kids. Because we weren't the norm, we were below the norm. We didn't get $50 a week allowance, which, let me tell you something, in the 80s, a $50 a week allowance for doing nothing, that's seriously good money. It is seriously good money. We didn't get that. Some of these kids got $100 a week, just as a, here. I'm mowing lawns on a Saturday morning and scraping together $20, which is also pretty good money, but I work for it. And some of my classmates have a really great work ethic, and some of them had everything handed to them. It's true. But I was going to school with, kids whose parents were doctors, lawyers, owned construction companies, business owners. Not saying they didn't work for it, but their kids didn't. So that's what I grew up in. So a lot of the time, if one of us kids wanted something cool, we found a cheaper route to get it, or we didn't get it at all. So sometimes the Sears Star Wars products were cheaper than you'd find them at other places. So 1977, 78, I don't know when it was, I got, I think for Christmas, Kenner Sears Cantina, the goofy cardboard fold-out, which I used, but it came with 4 figures. And that's cooler. And I didn't even know it at the time. I'm sure the hardcore collectors at the time knew it, but that blue Snaggletooth years later became incredibly valuable. I don't know what they are now. I think they've dipped down a little bit, but I know once upon a time when I looked it up online, loose in not that great a condition, I could have gotten $500 for them. I saw at one point it jumped to like almost $800. This is like 5-10 years ago. Again, I think it's probably gone down a little bit. Maybe the mysticism has died. But that's one of those figures that I'm not hoarding anymore. I am going to be purging my collection, especially when some of it gets here from George Station. But the Blue Snaggletooth, and it takes up a huge amount of space, being a 3 3/4 inch action figure. I'm going to hang on to him. He stays with me. And he wasn't my favorite figure or anything like that, but just, yeah, I'm keeping my Blue Snag. Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, I'm keeping a lot of the different creatures just because for the dioramas and stuff, they're great ways to populate. And I picked up a bunch more loose. No Blue Snaggletooth. I was always on the lookout for them. But at the flea market that I used to go to, Funland Drive-In, God, I miss that place. I grew up going to that one. On Hillsborough Avenue, if you're local, like Hillsborough County, Tampa, what have you. Funland Drive-In on Hillsborough Avenue I didn't go on Wednesdays, but I think on Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays, they did flea markets. And for a while, my mom, because we were always doing something to make money, typically like every other Saturday, we'd go set up tables at the flea market and I'd help her sell. That's actually where I learned a lot of my haggling abilities. And honestly, a little bit of my fearlessness regarding people. When you got random strangers coming up going, "Hey kid, I'll give you $1 for that," you got to learn how to look at Joe Bob and say, my mom wants at least $3 for that. I'll give you 2. And if you add 1, we got this. We got this. Just add 1. It's easy. 2 plus 1, And even at like 12, I had the moxie to do that. Because I'm that dork. That's why whenever the Goonies question comes up, because as a Gen Xer, the Goonies question comes up, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Corey Feldman, Mouth. Yeah. Except I didn't sort of know Spanish. I did stage work. But still, yeah, I am that obnoxious. But I'm also smart and I'm not afraid of you. So yeah, Corey Feldman, Mouth. And my best friend at the time was a non-Asian Data. And I love describing him this way, even though if he sees this, he's probably going to be like, man, quit calling me that. Little Irish guy. Little Irish kid. But all about the gadgets and the pooters. Yep. Little Irish kid Data was my bestie. It's funny, actually. We kind of had the same agreement that my wife and I have. I handle the people, you handle the machines. Never thought about that. Machines don't scare me, but if somebody else is more qualified, have at, Anyway. I have yammered. But health check, I feel pretty good. Congested. I can feel it. I can hear it a little bit in my tone. A little froggy. But I've been up, an hour and change. So. Not sure what I'm doing for breakfast. I got a full fridge, which is a nice problem to have. yesterday. I got a bag of chicken in there that I'm marinating in some teriyaki. There was some older Lowry's. The Lowry's marinades are great. No MSG. Check them out. No fructose. It's good stuff. If you're looking for a good marinade sauce, they come in a like barbecue sauce size bottle. Lowry's, Lawry. A lot better ingredients than you'll typically find with most of your stuff. And they tout it on the label, and they should, because that's something to be proud of. But I've got a big old thing of chicken drumsticks, one of the big, like 5-6 pound bags. I bought that, and it's sitting in a bottle of teriyaki, considering life, the universe, and everything. And as such, I put about 42 spoonfuls of ginger in there too, just to add a little bit more to it. And also the organic ginger is really good for you, so add a little something extra. So I'll probably bake that up later on. It's a good problem to have. Yeah, but I want to make sure we eat the other stuff up too. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy some vanilla macadamia coffee. And I'm going to do some paperwork, which I'm really excited about. Almost done with it though. And I'm going to do... I've got 5 packages to send out Monday. Possibly 6, because I think one of them's another thing on eBay's about to sell. And I'm going to do some scheduled listings. And I already flipped all my auctions that expired into buy it now, so we're good there. That's what I did when I got up. The exciting chores of an eBayer. 1 brick. Alright. It's becoming part of my outro, I think, but hug your parents, hug your kids. Make it a great day.